They say millennials will not be able to afford a home. They say that foreigners are more likely to hit millionaire status than native people. That includes foreign Africans as well. As to Dave Ramsey says that the notion that poor people would be better off if they just bought a house, he disagrees with. I'm going to tackle all three of these in this video. And it's all dealing concerning about real estate, really, right? Now, they say foreigners are more likely to reach millionaire status in the United States than any other group. Now, people want to talk about their drive and their passion and blah, 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 and the foreigners are real go-getters. You know, that would only be true if every foreigner sort of reached millionaire status in the same exact way. It stands to reason then that foreigners who reach millionaire status in all sorts of ways are doing it by some other method. And it is not about their drive and their zeal, because Americans have drive. They have passion. They have zeal. Have you seen the social justice warrior? They actually believe what they talk about. Of course, they're talking about some mess, and it's not profitable, and it doesn't benefit anybody, and I mean nobody. But they do have drive and passion. So drive and passion is not the defining factor. Foreigners must be doing something that Americans are not, as in general. And I believe it's something economic. What are foreigners doing that Americans are not? Well, let's look at American culture. American poverty culture, and this is all the poor people, and most of you who are watching it. American culture says that once you turn 18, son, you must move out the house. Be a man. It's just the most ridiculous and dumb thing you've ever heard. I think it's time for you to get your own place. We're going to help you move out at the age of 18 or 16. I ran away at 16. I couldn't take it anymore at home. I ran away at 14. I couldn't take it anymore at home. This is American culture. Let's take a look at these foreigners. Foreigners, in general, kind of as a whole, will have man, wife, mother, grandmother, son, grandson, all living in one house. That's called real estate. We're talking about real estate here. That's called real estate right there. That's called human capital. Grandmother, both grandmothers, grandfather, and he's the patriarch of the family. That's where patriarch comes from. And none of this weird feminist notion of patriarchy. Patriarch means the father figure who's over the entire family. He makes sure everybody's taken care of in the household. You cannot have a patriarch of just a husband and wife. No such thing. Doesn't exist. This is how these people have been fooling you on that notion. That patriarch is some sort of widespread, a bunch of men living in single family homes, and it's just them and their wife and their kid. No, it has to be at least 3 generations in the house for there to be a patriarch to begin with, and it has nothing to do with hating women or anything like that. Do you know what the other side of that coin is? The matriarch. The grandfather is the patriarch, and the grandmother is the matriarch. Whatever the matriarch says goes. Whatever the patriarch says goes. I can't have you raising your children, my children, mother. These are my children. What? What? This is why we are in the state that we're in, because these women think that they have read a book on some child rearing and now they know everything. I'm so sorry to tell you, but a lot of these books written about child rearing is written by people who don't know the first thing. I'm trying to be very sort of family friendly in my vocabulary today. And I'm trying not to broach topics that are not child friendly. These books are written, the parenting guide. No. Listen to your grandmother. If she came from a well-adjusted family herself. I'm talking about she grew up with a mom and a dad. And that includes black people too, yes. And don't be confused by that either, because the news puts out story after story after story. Oh, single black whatever, right? Single black whatever. And then took a look at the numbers, and the numbers are nowhere near across the board. White, black, blue, green, or whatever. Single whatever is not a thing. 2 million in the United States. Why are they talking about single mothers? It's the same thing they're talking about the gays. Less than 1% of the population is gay. And I'm talking about, that's in the all-inclusive. A gay, the lesbian, the men, the women, and the switchers. Less than 1% of the population. And then the switchers are less than 1%. 0.1% of the population. It's not a thing, but we like to talk about it because we don't want to talk about normal. 75%, 80%, 90% of the United States is quote unquote normal. That means they are average. Everything they do is average and boring to the powers that be. We don't want to go see movies about boring people. We don't want to watch the news about boring people. We want to watch the news about people who want to get operations on their bodies and change themselves into dolphins. Oh, that's exciting. And now it's so pervasive. That means it's a lot of it that we don't hear about normal. So now normal is the new revolution, right? That's the new mantra from the right wing. I'm a libertarian, by the way. So it's the fact that foreigners tend to all live in the same house. That saves a tremendous amount of money. Now imagine if these foreigners, let's turn them into American culturized people. So the great grandparents have to live on their own, and they have to pay their bill, their real estate bill. The grandparents have to live on their own, and they have to all. So we're talking about. So there was 8, then there was 4 people. All have to pay real estate bills on their own. Then the brothers, all the sisters, all their wives, all their husbands, all each have to pay real estate bills on their own. That's the American culture. Do you see how you're leading yourself down a path of poverty? And I've said it before. If you are an adequate parent, you will not, under any circumstances, talk about you're 30 years old, you should leave the home now. No, that has nothing to do with it. Nothing. Especially now, let's take a look at this. Especially when mom had the baby child, in her later years. By the time that kid gets 20, she's pushing 60. You want him to leave the house? She's about to retire. That income is about to be slashed. Dad dies? Now what? Oh no, because of this and that and the other, and the medical bills, his Social Security was completely wiped out. We paid it. We paid all the medical bills. At least 10% of the medical bills. It ate up all of his Social Security. Good luck. Now you got medical bills to pay, and you're about to retire. You're going to go on Social Security yourself. You want that 20-year-old to leave the house? Are you insane? This is what I'm talking about. We need to stop being rich people. Don't kick their children out. Did you know that? I saw one of these white, all white, not Jewish, white families, white, like he invented, bread, in the United States. So we're talking about real money. And then the son says, okay, well, this fall I'm a leave. And the father said, and go where? Where are you going to go? Why are you leaving? What are you going to do? This is your home. But lower class Americans do not think like that. They think this is my home. And by my, they mean the dad, the mom, especially women now. This is my home, especially the women. Oh my God. Oh my, you all have gone way, way beyond the selfish thing. And you've been acculturized and you've been brainwashed with this stuff because the people want you to buy. Oh, women, you making money miles, so now you can buy. You can go to your own movies. That means we can make double on the movies. No longer do you have to depend on a man to take you out on a date to go see the movies. Now you go see the movies. I'm here to tell you, when you're being acculturized to act like a man, it is a lonely existence. Men get short shrift on everything. No pats on the backs. Nothing. All they want is your money. Oh, table 6 just sat down. It's a single dude. Good luck, Jim. I don't care how much money the man has. Men are not treated all that great. And women are slowly waking up. Women are CEOs of companies, female CEOs of companies are quitting their jobs. Now, they keep putting out this mantra, millennials won't be able to afford anything that their parents afforded. Millennials won't be able to buy a house. Millennials won't be able to buy a house. Millennials won't be able to buy a house. Really? Says who? And then they go, we took a group and looked online to a real estate calculator and see how much of a house they could afford. Okay, so they have all of these broke people, poor people, who made $40,000 a year. Oh, do you know what the poverty line is? It's like 20 something. And then there's a soft poverty line and there's a hard poverty line. The hard poverty line is like 13,000, 14, 15, 17,000, something like that. The soft one is like 28,000, something like that. Today. Now, imagine if you made $28,000 and you married a woman who made $28,000 and you moved in your mom who makes $28,000 and your dad who makes $28,000 and your grandparents who get Social Security who all make $20,000. Shall I go on? Do you see the beauty of this? Well, that's too many people. You know what? The entire rest of the world. In Italy, the young people go to clubs and they do stuff in the clubs because there's too many people living at home. That's their culture. Because the financial reality of Italy says that you cannot go out. You can't. You just can't. You cannot go out and buy a house, period. Forget this 30 years old, 18 years old. Forget that. You cannot go and buy a house unless you hit it big. And I mean big if you're a movie star or you're like a financial mogul. Unless you hit it big, you are not moving out. Now imagine that. So those people come over here, they have no qualms about living with mom, dad, granddad. Americans have the luxury of not liking their in-laws. Oh, the in-laws. My family does it too. My family is to the extreme. That's not your uncle. That's just an in-law. He's married to your aunt. Okay, and so then his children, I shouldn't talk to them either. No, they're your flesh and blood, but he's a completely separate. Don't talk to those people. The in-laws are not invited to family gatherings. Is this is because we have the luxury of doing this. Let's get back to the millennials. We had these people look at the real estate calculator and see how much they could afford. I can afford a $275,000 house. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the real estate realtor website and see what properties are out there. I see a property for $275,000. It is a studio. Not even a one bedroom, a studio, a full-fledged studio. In a bad neighborhood. But wait, in 10 years, it's going to go up. The property, no. The neighborhood is going to go up. Why? Because rich people are moving in. Well, not rich people, but upper middle class people are moving in. How dare they move in? Oh, hold on. Let's go look at the upper middle class neighborhood. The rich people are moving into the upper middle class neighborhood. You see it all falls down. Gentrification now doesn't happen because people like to take over black neighborhoods. Gentrification happens at the entire spectrum of the economy. Why? I did a year of Masters of Public Administration with a concentration on hospital administration. So my specialty was hospital administration, but I did take, in fact, city planning. And a lot of these people who have city planners, and I've come since to come to the conclusion that cities should not have city planners at all. There are cities without city planners, big, huge cities, big, major cities without city planners. Do you know who does the planning? City council. There's no reason to have a city planner. Anyway, the city planners, I'm going to lay this at their feet. The city planners actually do things wrong. What's wrong for the actual city? Why? Because you have a special interest group that gets to the city planners. And the city planners say, okay, we're going to require that you have a driveway, that you have a parking lot in front of your house, 2 parking lots, right? In every single property, at least. And any sort of condo or apartment, you will need to have a parking space for that condo too. Now, you say, well, that sounds reasonable. Well, actually, the reality is that a lot of people do not have cars in these big, big cities. They take taxis, they take Ubers, they take buses, they take the metro. That's what it's there for mass transit. And they don't have a car at all, so all of these parking spots are vacant. Now, I believe New York, you can actually rent out your parking space for $1 million a year, depending on where you're located, right? And there, you don't get your parking spot for free. You have to pay for it on your own property. Here's how property actually works. You take your house, boom, boom, boom. It's a square, right? You have your fence right here. Then you have a sidewalk. Then you have a gutter. Then way out, you have the street, right? Guess where your property actually is? Your property starts from the middle of the street all the way to your back wall. That's where your property is. The city requires you to have access to your property. That's the street. It requires that you provide gutter service. That's the gutter. It requires that you have public access to your property. That's the sidewalk. So the city, and it's not paying for any of that. It's not paying for any of that. Well, Shakaama, what kind of place would it look like? Well, what a place it would kind of look like is old America, where you had toll roads. Well, we can't have toll roads over. Oh, yes, you can. Because with a toll road, the streets were kept up by a group of properties, right? So that everybody in the neighborhood has a toll road, and the money that they collect from the toll goes directly to keep up the street and the gutter and the sidewalk, huh? And they did a much better job. I want you to think about all of the roads that you travel on in the city. How much better it would be if that neighborhood itself collected a toll and kept up those streets and side. I mean, have you walked on a sidewalk and the sidewalk slab is sticking up like this? I mean, this far. I mean, it's supposed to be like this, and it's sticking up that, and people trip. It's a tripping hazard. Or the street lamp doesn't work in a bad neighborhood. But they collect more taxes in a bad neighborhood than they do in the rich neighborhoods. Ooh, how about that one? Why? Because poor people tend to spend most of their money. It's the difference between the husband and the wife, men and women. Women shop incessantly. They go, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. And men go, I want to buy a refrigerator. It's been 20 years and the fridge is dying. I want to buy a truck, a vehicle for work. It's been 10 years and the truck I have is dying. I want to buy a suit. So, boom. They make big payments, but they make it infrequently. This is how rich people spend their money. Big payments infrequently. Poor people, frequent small payments of stuff. That's how they stay poor. The millennials then are looking at now where do you think you could buy a studio for $275,000? Only in a big city, only in one of the coasts, right? In LA, in New York. That's it. In Miami. That's it. There's all sorts of properties all over the nation. You don't even have to buy in the city. You can travel an hour away and find some actual home, with a yard. Oh, but the commute. Who cares about the commute? You have a much better, higher quality of life. You're probably going to live in a much better area. You're not going to be shot or anything like that. Oh, but then I could take public transit. But no, but then you have what did I say before? If you're not making $60,000 a year, you failed at being an adult. All of you people, why is that? Because you could be a carpenter and make $75,000, $80,000, $85,000, $100,000 a year. I've already shown it to you. And I said, if you're not making it now, stop what you're doing and go do that. But Shakaama, you're not doing that. I'm also running like 5 businesses, you know. At any one point, this is my time. So here, right now, during these next 3 months or so, is my big hoorah. This is where everybody comes with the money. They come with the donations. They come with the advertisement. They come with everything because they're used to spending money at this time of year. And boom, I make 4,000, 5,000, $10,000. 3 months for 3 months. The rest of the year, you all don't want to hear from me. Yes, I'm still sick. Uh, Now, what was the Dave Ramsey? Poor people would be made better off if they bought a house. Dave Ramsey says it's stupid. Oh, you are making my foot fall asleep by laying on my foot there, Pooch. I know you like me, I like you, but can I have my feet? All right, thank you. Oh, please don't lick my toes. First of all, your mouth is cold. Okay, is it stupid for a poor person, to buy a house? I disagree with Dave Ramsey. He says it's stupid. That's an entirely stupid notion. Why do I say that? Because if you follow the Shakaama method, not only is it a fantastic idea for a poor person to buy a house, they could come out being rich. How? Paying cash for a house. Shakaama, how can people pay cash for a house if they're poor? It's the house. It's not the person. It's the house. It's the deal. It's the structuring of the deal. You can buy a house for no money down, sweep the floor, clean it up, clean up the house, and then turn around and sell it in a week. Your name actually only appears for 1 second on the deed. There you go. Thank you.